Pro-lifer. Democrats only win the abortion debate by hiding what abortion actually is. What's up? How we doing? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. That's what we're going to talk about today. Is the Democrats only win the abortion debate because they're hiding what abortion really is. And I know this has been played out for a long time, and you're either on one side or you're on the other, and there's no like in between, and it's just a debate that I don't think that we're ever going to get a winner on this debate. It's just, and I think Trump, I know, Trump, not Trump, but this article's coming from the Blaze, but Trump he put it onto the states, which I think was the best thing to do. It's like, I mean, at least to get him out of it, because he didn't want to piss off either or, but so he just said that's the state's responsibility to decide that, which I don't believe it should be really at all. I am pro don't kill people, and some might argue, well, it's just a fetus. It's just as long as it has a heartbeat, it's a human life form. But enough of that. Let's just look. This article's coming from the Blaze, and I know this one might set some of y'all. I don't know, but we'll see. Let's just see what he has to say, and we'll go from there. Frank Pavone argues that the left frames abortion around rights and freedom while avoiding the fact that it ends a human life. And see, that's what it is. They call it a right. They call it a freedom. But it's really not, because, yeah, it's my body, my choice, but it's not really your body that you're taking. It's not really your life that you're taking. It's not really, there's another body in there, and that's not your body. Just because it's in your body doesn't make it your body. That's the problem. That's what people don't understand. And then these same people argue that, I'm not going to go there. The COVID shot, the jibbity jab. I'm not going to go there, but when it comes to abortion, the Democrats never describe what their intent on defending. Instead, they pick and choose words that represent a woman's freedom rather than the murdering of a baby. And that's what it is. Well, it's your body. You know what? You can also choose not to do. You can choose not to do things that cause you to become pregnant. Why can't you take that kind of responsibility? If you don't want to have a baby, don't have sex. Then you don't have to murder anybody. They pretend to be talking about abortion, and they talk about women's rights and the Constitution, women's health, freedom. Well, we agree on all of those things. We just don't agree that the killing of babies, pro-life leader Frank Pavone tells the Blaze TV host Steve Deace on the Steve Deace show. They don't want to admit that the baby's even there, he adds. Yeah, they don't. If you hear these debates, I mean, you hear Charlie Kirk, he has debates on this all the time, but it's the left, they don't think of it as a baby. It's not a baby. It's just a fetus. It's just a fetus. Well, a fetus is the beginning stages of a baby. This is why, when it comes to changing the way Americans see abortion, Pavone points to a South Dakota law that requires that abortionists say to women getting the procedure, this procedure is about to destroy a whole, separate, unique, living human being. Yes, it is. It's basically taking a life of a actual human being. And again, there's one way to prevent all this, and everybody would be happy. It's called don't do what makes babies. Cover up, keep it in your pants, whatever. Just that could avoid this whole situation. If you don't want to have a baby, don't do what creates babies. And and another big problem is it's like, well, maybe I won't get into that yet. We'll see. We'll see where this article goes. The law actually provides those words as what that abortionist had to say to the woman. Pavone says. Now, Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry objected that they said, "Oh, that's just ideology and belief. You can't require somebody to say that." And when the court looked at it, the conclusion they came to was this is not ideology or belief. This is simple scientific fact. Oh yeah, science. Got to believe in the science, right? The court said, no, 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 no. The difference with this is the only procedure that involves the intentional destruction of a human life, he continued. And so that is where I think we have to begin. How do we get to the end of abortion? Maybe we ought to start by defining abortion, he adds, noting that this is why there is so much miscommunication between the left and the right when abortion becomes the topic of debate. In a sense, we've had a pretend debate in America over abortion. We think of the word we're thinking about about the destruction of a whole, separate, unique, living human life. We're thinking about an act of violence. The other side uses the same word, but they're thinking about freedom and rights and women's health, he explains. And that's the thing. And like I said, there's certain times where I could say, let's call it allow. I could allow abortion to some degree. Just a rape? No, not necessarily. But if it's like the baby dies or the mother dies, maybe. But it's just you have sex, you get pregnant, you want to have an abortion? No, nope. Don't agree with it. Don't agree with it at all. It's like, what in the world are we talking about? What is an abortion? And the only way that the other side wins any of their battles is precisely by not facing that question. And that's basically it. And that's the thing. Ask what, an abortion actually is. Like maybe when you're having that debate, you can actually, well, what is an abortion? The abortion is basically the killing of another human being, of another human life form. I mean, once it's an adult, you don't want them to get killed. But why? So why would you want them to get killed as it's a baby, before that baby is born? Because it's a baby. But anyway, like I said, this is kind of a hot topic, hard topic. I have my beliefs, but I try not to get too into the abortion deal. But I don't think it should be done. But and like I said, the left, they just use words like freedoms and rights, and it's not your right to take the life of another human life form, of a human life, regardless what the stage of that life is. Because if a pregnant mother or a woman if a woman that is pregnant gets killed, gets murdered, that's a double murder, because that baby in the body is counted as another human being. So why should it go that way but not the other way? If a pregnant mother gets killed, gets murdered, that's double homicide. So why should it not be looked at? But anyway, that's video for today. Appreciate you. Love you. Do the YouTube stuff down below. There's links to my other channels that I'm starting. There's links to my eBay store and stuff like that. If you want to check those out. If not, if all you do is subscribe, I appreciate that greatly. We've got some goals we're working on. I'm trying to hit that 8,000 by the end of the year. That'd be awesome if I could hit that. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. See you in the next one.